So let's see what we're dealing with. Let's start with suspension, forks at the front, lock and suspension plush, 20-inch alloy wheels with 20-inch by 4-inch Cherry tyres. We've got 160mm rotors at the front with mechanical brakes. Some of my favourite pedals on here, they're nice and wide and they're metal. 160 rotors at the rear with mechanical brakes again. Metal mud guards at the front and again at the rear. You can see they've partially done their job over the last couple of days. Usual suspect Engwe rear rack, but genuinely a good solid rack. Comes with a 13 ampere battery, but I've got a 16 ampere that they sell as a second battery that they've sent me as well. And in there, you've got your controller and all the rest of your wiring. Really comfortable. When I say that, it's strange for me to say that about an Engwe saddle, but it's a really comfortable flip top saddle, so you can get your battery out. Job done. 7-speed freewheel at the back with what I assume is a restricted 750 watt motor, going down to turny derailleur, the nice derailleur guard. They're getting thicker, these things. Mechanical brake levers at the front, trigger bell, I like that. There you've got that beautiful display. Control buttons are there, you see underneath. You've got a nice adjustable stem here, and obviously BMX handlebars. You've got your usual 7-speed tombstone gear changer, another mechanical brake, and a quarter twist throttle. Nice bright front headlight. See how bright it is on my hand, look. Nice front basket, comes free with the bike. Adjustment point here for your lock and open of your suspension. Double-sided chain guard on the chainring. I do these reviews as I ride the bike, as you'll be riding the bike, in all the situations you'll be riding the bike. So bear that in mind when you watch the video. Anyway, let's see how it got on. So we're heading off up the hill, 112 feet, over a third of a mile. And as you've heard me say many a time on one of my other videos, if an e-bike can't make it up here, it's not worth having. Let's have a look at what we're doing. I'm pottering along on a light slope at the moment, past 5, using the gears. And it's fine. I'm getting some pace up now. And now I'm at pretty much the speed limit. And I can feel the bike holding back, but let's hit this boost button, see what happens. And there we go. 18, 19 mile an hour. And I'm having absolutely no problems getting up this hill, as you'd expect, or hope, as you'd hope. And what's the point, as I was hoping. But yeah, and getting up to this point here at nearly 16 mile an hour is faster than most of the bikes that I can get up here. So it's made it up there fine. Pootling along in normal mode, if you put some effort in, the torque sensor will take you up to the speed limit, which is great. That keeps it within UK and EU legality laws.
But when you're having to start from a stop, you've got that boost button. You press that and look, you're off. And it don't matter whether it's on the flat, hills or leather, you're on your way. And I like that because I'm only getting the power I need when I need it. The rest of the time, you have to put a bit of effort in, and you're not drawing from the battery as much. This increases the range massively, because what you have to remember is this is also a torque sensor. But again, I'm coming to a little hill here. Well, I say little. Hit that boost button and you're away. There you go. Get some pressure on that torque sensor. And look, I'm coming up to, well, I would exceed there 20 mile an hour. Which, let's be honest, that's quick. See, unlike normal road legal bikes, when you need power, it's never there. With this, hit that button, and it gets you out of those situations like when you're on hills, in the front of traffic, and you need that power to get away, and you're struggling to get the bike moving. And this makes this bike safer than your normal road legal bike. Again, hit the button, let's get up there. So you get the boost for about, you get it for about a minute or so. But most hills you'll come to, you get straight up them in a minute, if not less. And that's what you need. That's what you need in a legal electrical bicycle. I love it. I think it's brilliant. So let's get up and do the bypass run. It's going to be a bit gingerly around here because the ground is definitely wet and it's quite slippy in places, so I'm just going to be very aware of my tyres. But so far so good. I'm really enjoying how this bike works. I did a test with it last week in the bad weather, and let me just say it was bad weather, ice and snow everywhere. But I did 12 miles and got down to, I think it was 4 bars, but when I switched the bike back on, I was back up to 5. So if that's anywhere near real, that's pretty good going. Let's get on the bypass. I'll say, if you're going to be riding along bypasses, mirrors, helmet, gloves. I do this test because some of you are going to be riding bikes to working back on roads like this, and you need to know what it's like in traffic. And with the boost button on at 21 mile an hour, this is perfect. It really is. I'm having absolutely no problems being in the traffic here. That's fabulous. And now you can see I'm at the front of the traffic, come the lights, and I can assure you, when I need to set off, I'll be using that boost button. And you'll see how it works. There we go. Hit the boost button, hit the pedals, and quickly you're moving away, out of the way of traffic. And it does this on, well, it does it on steep hills too from the standoff, which is brilliant. It's exactly what we want. It's a road legal bike, it's a road legal e-bike with some balls when it needs it. Winter's officially here now. We've had winter for a couple of weeks. Like I said, the first time I took this out for a bit of a test ride, I was coming up the hill climb and there was snow and ice everywhere. And at that point, I did a bit more filming, but I abandoned the review, just didn't feel safe. So 26, 27 mile an hour, let's hit the brakes. The brakes do the job. You can hear them squeaking a bit. You know, I've bedded them in, and let's be honest, and I'll say it virtually at every point that I come around here, these mechanical brakes don't belong on these bikes. When they've got 160 hydraulics on the P20, which is pretty much half the weight of this, you know, it deserves better on here. It's not an expensive swap out. You get hydraulic brakes with an SM connector cut off. It's fine. And it's not an hard job. 30 minutes, probably 20 in this because of the easy access to the controller. We're heading up the Benny Hill. Let's give it some pasty, and I'll show you how this boost button works. It works really well. We're going along at the speed limit using the torque sensor. I'm putting quite a bit of effort in, I won't lie. And then as we come to the bridge, I'm going to hit the boost button, and here we go. You can feel the torque in the bike. That's the great thing about this. You can feel the torque pulling you. And I'm in, well, about as low a gear as you can get. Should be going down in this gear, but it's got me up this hill quite easily. And at 15 mile an hour at the top, that's quicker than most bikes that I use. That's really good. Really, really good. And let's go have a mooch around town, see how we get on. As I'll probably, it's as nimble as the L20 was. Just want to say that. There's a lot of similarities between this and the L20, but there's a lot of major differences. but it handles really well. It's very nimble. It really is nimble. Let's click down some gears. Here's a brake test right here. People just walk out in front of you. But that's not the point. Come down here for the tyre test. Today it's really slippy, and like I always say, if I'm ever going to come off, it's going to be around here. But kind of, it's not very dry. It's quite slippy, but it has no problems if you're wanting to hit the brakes a bit. These tyres are really good. I should have more trust in them, to be honest. You see me come up here enough. And this is a very steep hill. It's long, it's steep, and then I can be up here in about 30 seconds just by hitting that button. And we're off. There is a time frame within that it'll let you use the boost button again. You can't just use it straight away after. And I get that. But yeah, absolutely no problems getting up here. So here we go, we're off of Horrible Hill. Let's see how we got up here. Now, so far, this boost button's been quite flawless. So I'm going to hit it now. See how we get up this hill. Now I'm putting very little effort into getting up this hill. And I'm getting up to the toughest part of it, 13 mile an hour, which is faster than most get up here. Don't forget, £240 this bike's gone, with me and my photography pack. It's killing this hill, really is. What a bike. It's got a few fleas that I'll talk about in the breakdown. But let's be fair, that's pretty good going. Really is. I love torque sensor bikes, I really do. And I'm feeling that I'll get a bit of exercise out of it. But I've now unlocked this bike, so if I don't want to exercise, I can bum along on the throttle. This bike, it eats the miles up, and it kills a few anxieties at the same time. It kills range anxiety, it kills the anxiety you get if you're thinking your bike's going to get confiscated if you get caught with it. So it gets rid of confiscation anxiety. And it also gets rid of another anxiety. That when you're on a hill and you're trying to get the bike going, you know you're coming to that hill and you know you're going to struggle to get off at that hill point. You not have it with this. That boost button, it's all the torque you need to get away. Like I say, if I hit it now, look at the speed this thing gets up to quite quickly. It's a turbo. It's a turbo for your e-bike. And I love it. So yeah, when I come up with the idea about a year ago, and here's proof, and I know Engwe have been watching my channels for a long time, the whole idea was that we had something that we could use to get the bike going on hills, and it does that fantastically. It's everything I expected it to be. And I know I keep harping on about it being my idea, but it's a hell of a coincidence, isn't it? I said I'm not bothered. I'm quite flattered, and I'm glad somebody took. I wish more e-bike companies were taken on board. It's just a good idea, and it works really well. So have a shout out to Chow Yang again in their puncture-resistant tyres. I do go on about these tyres a lot. And somebody asked me the other day what should they change their tyres to. I don't like Kender Craze. Well, I quite like Kender Craze, but I've kind of got used to these, and I think they're fabulous tyres. You know, they've got a bit of grip to them. Although this morning when I did my grip tests at the bottom of the hill, it is quite slippery down there, and I just didn't hold my nerve for it, but I think they'd have been fine. I mean, this is soggy mud and it's fine on this, and you'd think the suspension would struggle a little bit, but it's fine. I've actually got the suspension locked and I can't feel anything. And again, I smashed my perineum up over the year, so I probably couldn't feel anything if I wanted to. There's a lot to like about this bike, but that boost button's a game changer. I really do mean that. The fact that you can ride around with a legal bike and have that boost when you want it, whether it's, I've got it unlocked at the moment so I can use the throttle, but you don't need the throttle. You really don't. Somebody moaned on my YouTube channel the other day that I described the L20 as Clarkson said about the Land Rover, it's all the car you'll ever need. This is all the bike you'll ever need, the same as the L20. Except this got a couple of tricks up its sleeve. You can already tell I like this bike. It doesn't take a rocket scientist, does it? You can already tell. Yeah, it's fine off-road. It really is fine off-road. That's what you want a utility cargo bike for, because it needs to be able to do everything, and this does everything. That's what I like about these bikes. I'm really glad that Engwe are doing utility bikes like this. The L20 is fabulous. Yeah, I think one of the strengths of this bike is the fact that it can be unlocked and give you that throttle. Because let's face it, what sort of self-absorbed coffer is going to pull over an e-bike that's a step through? It looks like it's ridden by ladies, but come on, even if it's unlocked, what coffer is going to pull over somebody on a step through e-bike? It's always been one of my theories about what they're looking for when they pull people over. And they're not looking for me, they're not looking for people that ride bikes like this. But then again, they're not looking for Sauron riders because they can't catch them. But they're not looking for this. In the 4 years I've been riding e-bikes, I've never been even properly looked at. I've been looked at once or twice. And actually, the copper that was staring at me actually stared at me coming down the hill at speed, while an illegal scooter doing about 25 miles an hour went straight past him uphill. No logic. It was funny though. Just proved my point that it just takes one bored copper to just have nothing to do, and then they're going to pull you over. I feel safe riding this around town, I really do. I feel better in the traffic when I can hit that boost button. It just feels safer to me. Right, let's get back up into town. If it's your first time you're watching this channel, this is the centre of Wakefield, and this is quite a horrible hill actually. But let's hit that boost button. And they're off. Get some pressure on that torque sensor, and I'm away. Pretty much 15 mile an hour coming up here. And it's done it in style. The more I ride this bike, the more I love it. This thing shifts, really does shift. And if I hit the boost button now, coming down here, I'm going to properly shift down here. It's as fast as you need to be going. Don't confuse this with an e-moto or an EMTB. It's a cargo bike. What you want from your cargo bike is range. Once I hit that boost button, I'm away. No throttle involved. Hit the boost button again to get away with the traffic. This thing shifts if you want it to shift. Like I said, I've seen other reviewers review this bike, and I genuinely think they just don't get it. They don't understand it. It's there when you need it. I know I keep going on about it, but the majority of the time when you're riding around, you don't need it. So you're not drawing all that power, draining the battery. There we go, we're off. Going uphill it. Well, it's just restricted me at 19 mile an hour. Remember that little love affair I had with the L20? This one's trying to steal that love. I love going in this park, especially when it's damp like this. It really does put some pressure on the bike, but having it unlocked and being able to use the throttle, you might be able to hear the squishing sound of the water I'm going through. Yeah, using the throttle makes this bike another bike again. It's something else. It's been raining, damp and snowy for over a week now, so this is really the only first time I've been able to get out and do this review. As you can see, it's pretty muddy. A bit slippy through there, look. But it handles it fine. And we can get the throttle on. Just let hello squirrel. Just let the bike do the work. Because I'm not doing any work on it. As you can see, I'm just going at this hill with the throttle. It's one of the few bikes that I've found you can drag me along just with the throttle uphill. I'm not pedalling. It's got some torque, this thing. Really has. So off-road, this bike's fine. Again, I'm not doing any actual pedalling, this is all off the throttle. There's a lot of fun to be had with this bike, and I think that's quite obvious. It's a toy and a half, and everything I've thrown at it over the last couple of days, it's took on the chin. And I like the fact that this thing moves me even on the mud with the throttle. It's very rare I come across. This is why I don't do throttle tests. I don't see the point in them. It's pretty grim out here today. Soggy as it gets. But it's doing the job fine. I wonder if you can hear all the mud underneath squelching. It's nice to control. I've not had any problems with it. Hello, squirrel. Those brakes are squealing a bit, but they are mechanical. Yeah, this bike's proven to me I can take it anywhere. If I hit that boost button, it gives me all the torque I need to get to where I want to be going without breaking the law. It's definitely got some poke. Like I said, I'm sure it says 75 Newton meters on the Engwe website, but it feels like a lot more. Might be because it's a lighter bike, I don't know. But it's flying along. Absolutely flying along. And I'm going to upset that person again by saying that this is probably all the e-bike you'll ever need. It's fun. It really is fun. The only thing I wish it had, the only thing that's really letting it down, these brakes. brakes are terrible. But it shifts. It's not a slow bike by any markup. It's just not a slow bike. It's everything you want this bike to be, and maybe a little bit more. I'll tell you what, that LE20 they've got coming out, I'm even more excited by that now. I mean, that's got 100 Newton meters of torque on a mid-drive. But this has definitely surprised me. I knew it was going to be good, just never knew how good. Yeah, the boost button's just a turbo. Poddling on at 11.5 mile an hour, and then bang, hit that boost button. No way. Like I said, it gives you it in spurts when you need it, for about a minute at a time. And I don't think you can use it again within the next 5 minutes, but you know, if, at the moment I'm still in my 1 minute, so if I hit the button now, get up the hill, does the job. To say I'm impressed with this doesn't come close. And I've seen other people review it online, and they don't get it. I really think they just don't get it. They expected it to be like the L20. And this isn't that bike. It zooms around, really does. I'm doing 21 and a bit mile an hour at the moment off the boost button. Don't forget, I've got it unlocked at the moment. It drags you up to about 18 mile an hour when you've got it legal, but it gives you all that much more torque. There's a saying in the home world, the car sort of lunatics like I'm attached to, and that's a really fast car can get you into trouble really quick. But the other thing it can do, it can get you out of trouble really quick as well. And this isn't the same sort of thing, but it's exactly what you want it to do at the right time. And it's like now, I'm hitting the boost button, I'm getting away in traffic. Because legal bikes can't do that. Because they're restricted to the 15.5 mile an hour thing, and if it's a cadence sensor it takes you 2 revolutions to get the thing going. This being a torque sensor, it's instantaneous. That car reminds me of some of the e-bikes I've seen that are just trying too hard, and they're not necessarily quick. With Christmas coming, this is the one I'd want under my tree. This is the e-bike. It's a toss-up between this or the Engine Pro 2.0. But at the moment, I don't know. Might want to ask Santa, let him decide for you. But it's a fabulous bike. Let's get home and do the breakdown.
So the unlock sequence, let's turn the bike on. So once the bike's turned on, we press the plus and minus at the same time. That puts us into the P section. And then we hit the plus button and hold it. I think it's for about 15 seconds. We'll find out, and then you'll see a change on the screen. There it is, job done. That's it, unlocked or locked. It's the same sequence for both. Let's turn it off. Well, that concludes my review of the L20 Boost. And I have to say I was quite blown away. Anyway, let's get away with the cons first, which I'll get them out of the way quite quickly. The brakes are dog shit. They work with this because it's a light bike, but these shouldn't be on these sort of bikes. And they want swapping out for hydraulics, and that'll cost you about 50 quid. And it's only around about a 20-30 minute job to swap them out because the access to the control is so easy. The torque sensor gets a bit jerky if you're not in the right gear, so you can lose its cadence a bit. Oh, and another niggle. The buttons on the display you use for control, they're just too small. And if you've got gloves on, they're pretty hard to control the bike with, but most of the time I left it in past 5 anyway, so it didn't really matter. But if you need to turn the bike on and off, you have to take your gloves off. Or if you want to up the pass and down the pass, it's a bit of a struggle. It does click through, but it takes some working on. So that's the only other niggle I've got. Pros, well, pretty much everything on the bike's a pro. That boost button, it's a turbo. It is, it's a turbo. And as far as I'm concerned, it's just a game changer. And I know I harp on about it, and I know I harped on about it in the review, but it's a bit strange that it copied the idea that I had on my Facebook page a year ago. I know they follow me, and like I said, I'm just flattered. It really is. Like I said, I wish other bike companies would take it on. The throttle works if you unlock it, but you don't need to unlock it. Unless you want a little bit more speed and a little bit more control with the throttle, you don't need to. That boost button does everything you need to do. And I threw it at some hills, and it just got up them easily. I mean, you saw me get up to 20 miles an hour on a hill. Wow. It's just a brilliant bike. I love that display. The display's gorgeous. Like I said in the review, this bike is just so safe in traffic. So when you're needing to take off from a set point, you just have your foot ready on the pedals to get the torque sensor going. Just hit the boost button and you're away. It pulls off really quickly, and especially when you're on a hill. So all those problems we have with cadence sensors when you're on a hill, steep hill, in the front of traffic, and you're trying to get the bike going, it's gone. It's gone. You don't need the throttle, you don't need anything. This does it all for you. I'm just blown away by the bike, to be honest. It was better than I ever imagined it to be. And I've now got to score it. Do you know, if it hadn't have had those mechanical brakes on, I'd probably score it higher. But I've got to take a point away because of the mechanical brakes. So let's get into that. I'm going to give it 9.5 out of 10. And right now, regardless of all the other reviews you've seen, they just didn't get the bike. It's probably, in my eyes, the best bike that Engwe makes. And I'm not saying that lightly. I love my Engine Pro 2.0. And I've invested a lot of time and money in it. So you know I love that bike, but it's heavy in comparison with this. And I haven't got a throttle on it, so I sort of don't have the boost button to get me going. But I do have an 1134 on it, and that does make a big difference, but not like this. This is a legal bike. Whichever way you look at it, properly legal, UK and EU legal bike. And it deserves that 9.5 out of 10. Or it'd have got 9.65 if it had hydraulic brakes on it. And I think it's one of the little letdowns that Engwe keeps getting wrong. Just budget it down, but they could add £100 for hydraulic brakes onto the cost of the bike. And they're making a little bit more profit and making the bike safer. It's my biggest niggle with what Engwe does with some of these bikes is the mechanical brakes. But yeah, blown away. I can't say anything else about it. I'm just kind of in awe with the bike. And like I said, I don't say it lightly. It's just an awesome bike. So that said, I've got the LE20 coming. And it's going to have to blow me away a bit more than this to get an higher score. But I'm guessing, I'm guessing because the other reviews I've seen are just crap and nobody's really had a deep delve into this bike. But I think
this might just overtake the L20 Boost. I don't know, but it's coming this week. So next week I'll have a review up for it, and that'll be my last e-bike review of the year. And after that, you're going to see my top 5 Engwe e-bikes of the year. And it is only Engwe, because I only review Engwe, but there might be a little surprise in it. Anyway, I'll leave you with a link to my L20 review. If you're expecting this bike to be the L20, it's not. It's only in shape and form that it's the L20. Everything else is different about it. It's a completely different bike. Have a nice weekend, everyone.